That was my best ventriloquist attempt. Puppet, Chef. Oh, I love that sound. Like I'm holding a sword. And Ansible. 3 configuration management tools that we could possibly use in our network. We saw that Ansible is probably the best solution for most people because we don't need an agent. It's just agentless. We can access the majority of Cisco devices. And not just Cisco, a lot of vendors. Almost all vendors. Well, I can't say all. I'm going to say all. And we can automate our device configuration. We can start treating our device configurations less like notepad scribble and more like code, more like a network developer. Now, sure, we could use Puppet, and well, that's a scary one, and we could use Chef, but they require an agent, and the sad news is most of our Cisco devices don't support installing an agent on those. So for many, again, Ansible is the best option. But Puppet is the darling of sysadmins, and Chef, more complex. It's meant for software developers and sysadmins at the same time. But I know that many network admins will end up using any one of these tools, just depending on what your needs are. Now, for many of you, this may be the last video you're watching in the CCNA course. You learned what a network is and how to manage a network and how to access devices and do all that crazy stuff with Jeremy Chara and Keith Barker. You built that great foundation, and then you hit me. And we kind of started to throw all that stuff away. Forget everything you learned, because now we're automating. Now we're becoming network developers. But that's not always true, is it? Actually, it shouldn't be true. It isn't true. Everything you've learned in the CCNA, you will need as you start to progress down your network automation journey. You can't automate what you don't understand. You can't automate if you don't know how it works. So this fundamental knowledge you've picked up in the CCNA, VLANs, the OSI model, spanning tree, routing protocols, you need to know all of those things before you automate them. Sure, the way we do things is changing. We're not designing our networks the same way we used to. But that's always been the case. Things are constantly changing. We just need to adapt and have fun. So where do you go from here? Well, I encourage you, if you're studying for the CCNA exam, go back and rewatch the course. Lab. Get those fundamentals down. They are so vital to your success now and so vital to your success down the road, because those fundamentals will serve you so well and no matter what role you have. And then once you have that CCNA under your belt, then it's a choose your own adventure, because Cisco's new certs, it's amazing. You can pick CCNP Encore, which is the enterprise CCNP. You can go down data center. You can go to security. I mean, there's so many options now, and each one of those has another option. It's really a choose your own adventure situation. You can become more of a routing and switching person if you really fall in love with routing and switching, or you can become even more automated. You can go down specific automation paths. Cisco DevNet Associate's a solid option if you want to become more of a network developer. Also going to the CCNP Encore and picking the automation specialization, the automation concentration, you learn even more about automation. So where do you go from here? Just keep going. Just go. You have so many options, and whatever option you pick just needs to be something that you're passionate about, something that you're interested in, and something that you'll have fun with, and you won't lose as long as you keep learning. Now, before we leave off, before I let you go, I want to kind of do a state of the union of where we're at now with network automation, because we talked about a lot of tools. First, we talked about automating with just Python and SSH using a tool called NetMiko, and then we looked at replacing everything and using a controller, and that's like so futuristic. And then we talked about some configuration management tools. Where does all this fit in? I want to paint that picture for you real quick. So we first looked at how we could just learn some Python, script up some beautiful Python, and then using a tool called NetMiko, we could access our routers directly, programmatically, and apply configuration to not just to one device, but multiple devices. Now, this situation right here is great for learning. It's great for you to learn Python. It's great for you to learn how to manage a lot of configuration and templating and all that cool stuff. But in the long term, your company isn't going to like the fact that you have a bunch of Python scripts laying around that maybe only you know how they work. And if another network engineer came in to try and help out, he may be totally lost. So this is great for starting out. It's great for small infrastructures, small networks. But as you get bigger, we have bigger needs, and we have a greater need for stability, for consistency. Consistency that maybe you just writing a few Python scripts doesn't bring, because you may not be a developer, a full-fledged developer. So odds are your scripts aren't going to be up to code, I guess. Not saying they're bad scripts, just that becoming a software developer is quite the discipline, and it's a lot of work to write up a bunch of Python scripts and programs that can do what a controller does. which is why the industry is definitely moving towards controller-based networks, software-defined networks that are SDN controllers. SDN controllers are the future of networking, I believe, especially with platforms like DNA Center, ACI. We can automate our WAN, SD-WAN. We didn't talk about that too much, but you'll see more of that as you go into the CCNP realm. And even all those options are coming under the DNA Center umbrella to where you have a single pane of glass where you can see everything you're automating right there. That's the future. That's where everyone is moving. Now, it may not be a DNA Center because everybody's going to have a different flavor of network, not going to only have all Cisco stuff. You may go with a different software-defined networking controller, but this will be the model that people stick with. I believe. This is me forecasting. Now, on the time we spent together and the skills we talked about, learning things like Python, learning about JSON, learning about APIs, and more specifically, RESTful APIs. Those are skills we can take with us to whatever network automation platform we engage with, whether it's writing a few Python scripts or the big stuff, the big game of interacting with SDN controllers. Now, but what about those configuration management tools we just talked about? Where do Puppet, Chef, and Ansible come into play? This is where it's probably going to be up to your company and the people who make decisions. Because what we talked about already, a lot of people already use Puppet, Chef, and Ansible to automate other things other than the network. They automate their servers, they automate their development, they have a full DevOps infrastructure. So they're already doing what our SDN controllers are trying to do. So adding the networking piece on top of that is just a natural step. So for many people, these management tools, is what they'll end up using. Now, I will say this, I do believe that the features in these tools will be added to DNA Center. You better believe that Cisco's not going to let that just stand by the wayside. They're going to, I don't know if they're going to buy them. They could buy them. Cisco, go buy some of those. No, DNA Center and SDN controllers will start to have more of the same features that Ansible has, that Puppet and Chef have. Managing configurations, making sure they're consistent, having a declared state of things. So to sum this all up, I do think SDN controllers are the future. Unless you're at an organization that heavily uses any one of these things and they can easily implement network automation into those tools, making their DevOps cycle come full circle, I guess. Okay, so this is where I leave you. Congrats for finishing the CCNA, for making it all the way through the course. Unless you went straight here because you wanted to know what network automation was, then get your butt back there and finish the rest of the CCNA course. But assuming you followed the course in order, you made it. You did it. Good luck on the exam. Good luck on automating your network. And I'll probably see you soon, because if you continue down the CCNP path, the Cisco path, and get your CCNP Encore, which I think you should, you'll see me, Jeremy, and Keith again. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.